afternoon, everyone. This is Ralph from Herald the Soon Coming King, and I'm broadcasting to you from the foothills of the Appalachians. You're looking out my window of my recording area. You'll see my creek there off to the left. I thought it'd be another good background. So, as you know, I've been putting together some of the dreams that I've had, and I think this will really be the last group. There are many others that are more personal or miscellaneous topics that maybe not appropriate to share. That said, we're going to talk about the rapture. There's really three that I think I want to share specifically. The first one occurred for me on October 21st, 2017. Lee and I, my wife and I, were in a truck with members of a Christian band, and we were discussing like a marriage ceremony, and we looked like we were in our 40s, which we're not anymore. So this was like we were younger. And the band mentioned that we needed a theme for the marriage ceremony. And we said, well, we really didn't need that. And then he quoted a scripture that explained why he thought we needed a theme. My wife laughed and explained why she felt that it didn't. And just as we were talking, we then saw something through the kind of the front windshield of the vehicle, and it was as if we really weren't looking through the vehicle at all. It wasn't constricted by the windshield, but it felt like we were looking forward. And what I saw was there was a planet that appeared in the sky ahead of us. I remember thinking, well, that's Nibiru. And then a blue sphere with a letter sign appeared next to it. So there was these, the kind of a planet-like thing, and then this blue sphere with a letter sign. And there was these two images of like stick people, but they were the thick stick people, like you see some of the signs where they're thick. They're not, but they look like people, but they're not people specifically. And they were running across the sky, and I remember everybody in the car said, "What's going on?" And I looked to my right, out the kind of the side of the car, and I saw the Lord on a white horse leading a banner of riders. They were like in two columns behind him, like a banner would be kind of gently flowing in the breeze, kind of like a curve-like column, not a straight column. And they were trailing the Lord. I knew it was him. And I said, this is it. Today is the day of the Lord's return. And I felt us, starting to leave our bodies as we took in this entire picture. And so, of course, I find this very interesting because here we are, we're present at the times of the Lord's return. And it is something that has led me significantly to think about where the placement of the rapture occurs. And when I did the book of Revelation, a deep study on the book of Revelation, I moved on a lot of my previous thoughts. And like I said, I will be giving an update on that because I think there's some additional insight I would like to give. So that was just interesting in the dream, obviously, when the occurrence was taking place. All right, the other one was even far more detailed, and this occurred on March 16th, the morning of March 16th, 2018. It was a very detailed dream. It was so detailed, when I woke up I had to write it down, and there was 3 or 4 pages, but obviously I can pretty well recall that, so I'm going to kind of give the highlight. And it was a situation where I remember that all of a sudden there were all the babies being raptured. They were just gone. I just knew that they were gone. And when they were gone, I was in a house with my family, and we were playing with one of the babies, and all of a sudden it disappeared. And when it disappeared, it was like sitting on somebody's chest, lying on the ground, playing with the baby. And at first looked to see if it had kind of rolled off, and then I realized, no, it's been raptured. And so from there, everybody in the house said, well, we need to go. We need to go find out what's going on. And but there was no um, uh, concern for the babies that had left. It's not like we were in any panic mode, just like we needed to go somewhere. So we all climbed in the car and started to drive. And when we did, began to see all these huge angels everywhere in the sky. They were just appearing everywhere, and I was seeing them in the car, and it seemed like no one else was, able to see them at first. But slowly, um, uh, and it concerned me that no one else was seeing the angels. But slowly, everybody else in the car began to see these huge angels, and so we knew at that point it was the day of the rapture. The day of the rapture was going to occur, and there was chaos around us everywhere, like an invasion had taken place into the United States. And so we get out of the car, we began to run, and as we're running, we see a variety of scenes. I see people that are not calling on the Lord, and we're urging them to call on the Lord because we realize this is the day, as this chaos and invasion is occurring, that the rapture is coming. We were almost caught, but crawled up under a house, and literally somebody was trying to grab our legs, and we got through that and out the other side, and kind of evaded being caught. And in that, the next picture I have is being back by a house, and there was somebody trying to shoot me, and there was somebody that I knew, but I didn't know who it was specifically. But in the dream, I knew I should know them, and I did know them. And they kind of jumped out in front of me to protect me, and they were shot, and they actually perished. So this person I knew, who I felt was related to me, was killed protecting me during this ongoing invasion. So it was just a matter of, we knew that this was all this chaos that had broken out, all this that had occurred was because the rapture was in progress, or was about to happen. Really, it's not in progress all day, but obviously that it's beginning to happen. And that's the gist of that particular dream. I do have a couple others, but I would say that they are so controversial that at this point I don't feel led of the Lord to share them, other than to say that there's some very some specifics that are in that dream. But I think all these dreams that I've shared about natural disasters that I believe coming, judgment, destruction, demonic battles with the Antichrist, the rapture, this invasion of the United States. All of this to me is the dreams that I received really from middle of May of 2017 to the present, which we're sitting in September of 2019, kind of middle of September. So, roughly in about, not quite 2.5 months, or excuse me, 2.5 years, but getting there, I've received something in the neighborhood of about 65 dreams. And some of these I've now shared with you. And like I said, some are personal and some that I just don't feel that the Lord's given me permission to share. But as those dreams were coming, and I was asking the Lord why I was getting these specific dreams, He led me to go back in the book of Revelation, which has been my favorite book from the time I was saved. In fact, my wife and I were both saved out of the book of Revelation. The Lord utilized that book to bring us into the kingdom some 38, almost 39 years ago. And it's always been a passion of mine. But recently, in those last 2 years, but recently, for sure in the last year, I've spent a lot of time going through the book of Revelation like I never have. I mean, literally taking apart and challenging everything I thought I knew, trying to validate what I believed, and if it needed to change, then I was going to change it. And indeed I have, and I shared with that in a video at the beginning of this year. Like I said, I continue to study that, Daniel, other passages like Thessalonians and Corinthians and others, to see if I can get a better picture of how those times may look. And I think that I have. And so probably the next taping, once I've published all these dreams, is that I'm going to try to update what it is that I think the Lord is showing me about Revelation. But as it relates to the dreams, it's really the understanding that there's a lot of this that we're going to go through. I do believe, at the very least, that we'll see most of the trumpets, if not all the trumpets. We will actually go through that time. I'm not a pre-tribulational person, as it were, anymore. I'm not a mid-tribulational. I'm not pre-wrath. I'm not post-tribulational. All those things come because of my understanding of what really is the time we talk about as the tribulation and Daniel's 70th week. So I've got some updates to that coming. But I do think that there is a large portion of that time that the body of Christ will be here on the earth. And that's surely not something I held for over 35 years. And so with that, there are many who disagree with me, and that's fine. You have to take these things to the Lord yourself and let the Lord speak to you. And if I'm wrong, that He'll confirm in your spirit. And if I'm correct in my understanding, then He will confirm to you and correct me. Not correct me, but He'll correct me if I'm wrong. But I continue to look. The main thing is that, of course, we are in a first love relationship with Him, that we're ready on a daily basis and any moment's notice to go, that we are looking for His return, that we're pressing in, we're doing the work of the ministry that He engaged us to do, and remembering that we are not of this world, although we're in this world. Our home is not here. Our home is with the Lord in heaven. It is not here. And so we should hold these things of this world lightly, even as we carry them out on a daily basis. Everything that we do, work and chores and education, and jobs and all these things. The Lord knows we need to do these things. This is the world He put us in, and this is how we're functioning. But we're looking and we're endeavoring to store treasure in heaven. And what is that treasure? It is the souls, the lives of human beings. Those are really the treasures we're trying to store in heaven, and that is by being part and partial to God's program through us into the world that we live, however He might utilize us. We need to be diligent to that. And if we have a first love relationship with Him, we're on fire for Him in our relationship. We think about Him, we talk with Him, we spend time with Him. We want to be with Him as you were in a first love physical or natural, better way to say that, natural relationship. So, excuse me, I shared the dreams for whatever they're worth. I believe the Lord asked me to do that. I've now shared them. They're going to be used of the Lord in whatever way He sees fit. It is my prayer that if they are of no value, that they are quickly forgotten. And if they are of value, that they will burn in your heart as the Lord would utilize them. I know what He's done in my life with those dreams. And I would hope that He would use them in your life in whatever way He sees fit. So with that, we're going to wrap up, and just remember to look up, for your redemption draws near.